All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello, it's Miss Sinclair. It is Thursday, February 25th. We're going to do lesson 10 today in module 4. Your quiz tomorrow will be on lessons 1 through 10. So one of your jobs today is to make sure that your composition book notes are up to date. If you need to borrow somebody's notes because you're absent or you don't know if you took good notes, you're going to want to do that later this morning. Secondly, this module is like the biggest, most important one for 6th grade. It's going to take a while. There are 32 lessons in this module. So we're 1/3 of the way through. This will be finished by spring break. And then after spring break, we're going to start geometry. We're only going to do 10 lessons in geometry. And then after that, we're going to do statistics. And then we'll do like M-STEP and the other end of the year stuff. So this is the most important thing that we're learning today. This lesson actually is a really simple lesson, but it is really quite critically important that you understand this work today. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Right here at the top it says to write an expression using the fewest numbers and symbols. So let's talk about what in the world do they mean by that. This math expression says 6 times b. How can I write that without using that many things? Is there something in here that I can get rid of and I can write it differently and it still says 6 times b? Caleb? No, because that would completely change what I'm doing. Peyton?
Change the X to one of those not.
We could try that. Hang on. Hello? I will. Yep. Parker, you're needed in the office. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you may not remember this, but we talked about this once before. We said anytime there's a number next to a letter and there's no sign in between, it means to multiply. So we can get rid of the X and just write 6b. Let's take a look at the second one. 4 times 3 times h. Can I combine 4 times 3 and get a number so I don't have two different numbers?
12.
4 times 3 would be 12. And the h I'm just going to put right next to it because it means 12 times h. Put your jacket down, Caleb. All of this has to be written on your paper. So see, what we're doing is we're taking those two numbers, we're changing it to a 12, and then we're taking out all the time signs. So it's just 12h. Check out this one. What do you think we would do with this one? Raise your hand if you think you know what we would do. Somebody besides Caleb, because he's already answered one question today. Quaid.
2 to the power of 3.
Which is what answer, though? If I put it in form, what is 2 times 2 times 2?
8.
So we can write 8, and then what am I going to do with the A and the B? Just write them right next to the 8. 8, A, B. Please don't do that unless I call on you to ask. Okay, Omari.
It's 2, 4, 6.
It doesn't say 2 times 3, honey. It says 2 times 2. Look at me. Look up here. 2 times 2 is?
4.
And 4 times 2 is?
8.
That's why it's 8.
Okay.
It's all right. That's why we're doing it. This is why it's practice. Okay, here's one a little bit different. Take a look at this one carefully, Aiden. What do you think we're going to do with this one, Aiden? What numbers can I combine?
5 and 3.
So what is 5 times 3?
15.
15. And Aiden, what do I do with those two letters? Yep, just put them right next to it. It means 15 times M times P. This is actually, you know what I'm going to tell you guys? This actually is standard form. Remember we talked about standard form last week? What form is this one right here? When it's all stretched out. Taylor?
Expanded form.
Okay. Remember those two terms because that's going to be on the quiz too. Write this in standard form, write this in expanded form. Brooklyn.
How do you know that B? How do you know like when you write the answer? How do you know that that's like a multiplication?
Because anytime they're next to each other with no sign, it automatically means multiply. That's an algebra thing. That's different than what you've learned before. The last one on here is a little bit of a tricky question. So I want you to take a look, Jackson. I've got 1 times G times W. How could I write that shorter without all those time signs in? What would it look like? Now, let me ask you this question. Don't turn the page. Any number times 1 always equals itself, right? So can I make that even shorter? 1 times GW just means
GW.
we don't even have to write the 1 in front of it because 1 times anything just equals itself. So the shortest one is just to write GW by itself. All right. Let's take a look here at the next page. We're going to put these back in expanded form. All right. So 5 with a G next to it means what, Quaid? So it means 5 times G. Omar, you get the next one. You ready? I'm going to put the time signs back in here. Omari, what would I write for part B?
That you would do 7 times A times B times C.
Absolutely perfect. What about this next one, Brooklyn? What do you do with 12G?
You do 12 times B.
Yep. Amazing. All right, Derek. 3H times 8. Put up all of the time signs back in. What would we write? Exactly right. And there's one more. 7G times 9H. Brooklyn, what would you write with all the time signs back in it?
You would do 7 times G and then times 9.
All the time signs back in. 7 times G times 9 times H. Okay? Now we're going to put them back in standard form again. So they're giving me this. So look at what I'm pointing to. 4 times F times 7 times G. What can I combine together? Tyler, what two numbers can I combine together? Tyler, what two numbers do I have? So 4 times 7, who knows it? Derek? 28. And what do I do with the letters, Derek? Nope.
28.
Perfect. Okay, here's the next one. Multiply 3DE times 9YZ. What two numbers am I going to multiply first, Ethan?
3.
And 9 times 3. Anybody? You know the 9's trick, right? Taylor.
27.
27. What am I going to do with all the letters?
Add them on at the end.
I add them all on at the end. And remember, when there's a whole bunch of letters, put them in alphabetical order. D, then E, then Y, then Z. We're going to start doing problems next week that look like that. And I want you to know all that means is you're going to multiply stuff. Now look at this one. The last one is a little bit tricky because it says double the product. So if I tell you to double something, in your brain, what do you think of when you double something? Omari, we're not drawing, honey.
No.
Okay, what do we mean when we say double? Taylor,
Multiplication
by what? Multiply by
by 2.
2. So, Omari, if I give you $5 and you double that, what is it?
10.
So it's times by 2. So we're going to do times by 2 of that. So watch what we write. You ready? 2 times 6 times y times 3 times b times c. I just took all of it and I put them all in a line and I added a times by 2. Now let's combine the numbers first. 2 times 6 times 3. You know what I would do if I was trying to do that? I would go 2 times 3 first, because what is 2 times 3?
6.
6. 6 times 6?
12.
36. Now I've got to take all the letters and do what? Put them in the back in alphabetical order, right? All right, so here we are already at the end of the lesson. Let me finish. There are questions like this on the quiz tomorrow. So let's talk about it, okay? First of all, look at the directions. Rewrite in standard form, then write these in expanded form, and then answer those. I am right in the middle of talking, and you don't have to ask permission for that. You're just supposed to deal with it. Remember? Rewrite in standard form. So instead of saying 5 times y, what do you think I would write? Dominic? I'm not going to give you the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask you a question about this one. 5 times 2 times 2 times y times z. What are you going to do with those first 3 numbers? Peyton? You're going to multiply them all together to get an answer, right? Don't tell them. It's a secret. Now we're going to take this and write it in expanded form. Let's practice with the last one. Ready? Expanded form is going to look like this. 15 times A times B times C. There's an example of what that answer would look like. And I'm not going to talk about answers down here, but who can tell me what you would do with this one? We practiced a few of those. Quaid? At the end. Exactly right. So here's your job for today. This assignment, you're going to solve these, put your answers in Kami. This will only take literally about 5 minutes, maybe not even 5 minutes. So write them on your paper first if you want to, and then type them in. When you finish that, there's a really short 5-minute IXL lesson that'll help you study for the quiz tomorrow. So you're going to do this first. You're going to do this second. When you finish IXL, you're going to pick up your slip, and then you may have free time. Anybody have any questions about any of that? Caleb, what's your question?